hug. Sorry. I'm going to stop that. Is everybody excited? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Amanda Schleniger, founder of Co-Creating a Beautiful Life series and workshops, owner of Hustle and Heart Real Estate Group, Empower Real Estate Ogden, and Spread the Love nonprofit. I like to think I'm kind of a big deal. No, just kidding. First of all, I want to thank you all for coming. It's absolutely amazing when this many people show up in the middle of the work week to help raise their vibration and get the knowledge to make themselves a better person. So thank you guys for coming. We're in our 4th edition of this series and workshop, and I'm super excited about our speaker today. But before I introduce the speaker, I want to let you all know that this is a free event, but we do accept donations, and they do go towards our nonprofit to go out and do random acts of kindness throughout the community. There's a variety of ways that you guys can donate. There's a gratitude jar up front. You guys can Venmo me, and then there's the good old-fashioned, you can cut a check if you want to. For those of you that don't know about the event, we host these every 3 weeks. They're at the same time every 3 weeks, so 11:30 to 1, always on a Wednesday. And every week we have a different speaker, a different topic, and a different sponsor. This week our sponsor is the beautiful Candace and her sister with Utah Mortgage, and we're going to give her a couple of minutes to come up here and introduce herself and tell us a little bit about what she does. She sponsored the lunch today, so we'll give her a round of applause.
Thanks for having us. Yep. I'm Candace with Utah Mortgage. Office is located in Clearfield. Been in the mortgage business for 15 years. My sister is also my partner in crime. She's been in the business for about 16 years. 16 years. Yeah. She's also a licensed underwriter. So together we bring a lot of experience, and we'd love to help you and your clients if you have any questions or anything. Thanks for having us.
We love you. We love you guys so much. So I'm going to introduce our guest speaker. He's actually a good friend of mine and a amazing real estate coach. He is going to be talking on his Financial Freedom Nation that he coaches about. Let's give a big warm welcome for the one and only Colton Lindsay.
What's up, gang? How's everyone doing? You got a marker right here?
Yeah, right there.
Sweet. How many of you guys literally would just want more money in your life? Raise your hand if that's you. I'm talking lots of money, right? Y'all cool with that?
I do.
How many of you maybe are here I want to get debt free, I want to get out of debt in my life? Who's that one, right? How many of you guys just want a better relationship with money because it's this push-shove type thing, sometimes I fucking have it, sometimes I don't, and I don't like it controlling my emotions. Who's there? Right there, right? So I think it was 21, 22. I went to this event because obviously I got to make something of my life. I'm home from my mission now. I got to be an adult, right? I went to this event with a guy named Garrett White. You might see him online now. It's called Wake Up Warrior. Anyone ever seen or heard of Wake Up Warrior? Super cool program, but I met him way before that started, him and a guy named Garrett Gunderson, and they said this phrase, financial freedom. Write that down, financial freedom. Now, the definition of financial freedom blew my fucking mind because I never heard of it. I grew up working class family, awesome parents, we always had food to eat. I was in the 90s with Nintendo 64, I had the life, right? But what I really had was a challenge of being comfortable. I was so comfortable, I didn't know how to blow up my mind to think bigger. Who's with me here? You had it comfortable. You weren't poor. Maybe some of you grew up poor. I get that too, but I didn't grow up poor. I just grew up comfortable, okay? So they said financial freedom is, write this down, when your passive or residual income pays for your desired lifestyle. Your passive or residual income pays for your desired lifestyle, okay? So I was shit, that's what I want. And I had a credit card, so I joined their program, which was $7,500. And somehow I had that on my card, enough money. And I didn't get anything out of the program except for listen, there is a possibility to be financially free. And it blew my mind because financial freedom was not debt freedom. I always thought before, debt freedom was financial freedom, okay? And as I went through my early 20s and I started doing lots of drugs, sex, and alcohol and wasted the rest of my time, I then met an awesome gal. I got married, had a beautiful daughter, and I went to another training event. And Doug Nelson was the trainer, and he said, listen, average people go on vacation for a week, wealthy people go on vacation for a season. And I'm like, fuck, that's what I want. I want to be that wealthy person, right? Who's with me wants to be that wealthy person? And as I started going through, I think our 20s, we go through like this discovery of like life and realizing we don't really know shit. And then we're starting to learn what that stuff is. Who's with me here on that, right? And so as I'm discovering this, I look back at over the timeline of things, and I realized growing up, I didn't learn 3 major things that control my entire fucking life. Number 1 was money. Like, money controls so much. And during my period of elementary, junior high, high school, even college, no one taught me how to manage my money, how it worked, how the economy worked. I didn't know. I thought if I could grow up, make $75K a year, get an awesome truck, I was like, that was the life. You know what I'm saying? Like, boom, that's it. Yeah, right? And then as I grew up, and like, I can't remember what month it was. I think it was October. I had my best month over, 168 grand in 1 month. I'm like, what the fuck? I never even thought I'd make that in a year, let alone 1 month. So I just had to pinch myself, right? But the second thing I realized, and we're not going to go into much detail on this, but the second thing I realized is no one fucking taught me how to have a relationship. Like, I don't know how to have a real relationship. Who's with me on that one? Like, obviously, I'm divorced because I couldn't figure that shit out. I'm not going to teach relationship freedom class because I don't know it, okay? But I realized I didn't know. Like, no one taught me that. And then the third thing no one taught me throughout this whole program, this whole time of life, was how to have health and vitality. Like, I just didn't know how to really, I thought health meant like I go to the doctor and I get some medicine, right? So as I went through my 20s, I had these discoveries, but my first discovery was financial freedom, okay? And when I started to get focused early on in my marriage, I got obsessed because I realized I had some problems in my life. Who has some problems in their life? Say yes, right? Hello? We got some fucking problems. And, but my thought was this. My thought was, if I could become financially free, I could get rid of my problems. My thought was, if I could out-hustle the competition, I could get rid of my problems, okay? And so I worked my ass off. And part of that was, you know, this is a whole nother subject, but if we go back to our childhood, there were some things, some decisions that we made in a negative state of emotion that we believe we're not good enough, smart enough, whatever enough, right? Who knows what I'm talking about? Like, we got this like void that we need to fill. And for me, how I dealt with that was, listen, go prove your shit and go to work and make shit happen. That was how I dealt with it. Any other, have some hustlers in here, right? That's part of it. And so my problem became this, is that I became addicted with working harder. And working harder, I did more of the same stuff that actually put more of the same pressure on me. So as I did this, I learned that I had to rewire my financial blueprint, and we're going to talk about that along the way. I was joking with Carly when she asked, like, what was the title of this thing or whatever, and I said, financially free by 31, miserable by 32, because it's absolutely fucking true, right? Through this whole time, I am working my ass off, and I'm learning new blueprints that we're going to share with you here. I'm creating new cash flow management. That's a term you're going to want to learn, cash flow management. I'm understanding financial literacy. I'm doing all this stuff. But what I still found out through the process, even becoming financially free, I was completely unfulfilled in the inside. Who's with me here that, like, really what we want is fulfillment to our core? Yes, if that's you, okay? So as I was doing this and I was really unfulfilled along the way, I'm like fucking getting high every day. I remember driving to listing appointments, smoking a blunt, like drinking alcohol. And you guys, like, I'm being so authentic with you because this is the life that I was living. And I was pretending that like I had shit figured out. And I think it was when I was 32 when I realized I was miserable. I was like, fuck, I don't know anything and no one knows anything. Like, what the fuck are we doing on this giant rock in the middle of outer space floating around this burning ball of sun and that never seems to, like, what the fuck is going on, right? Like, I had this,
some good blunts.
right, like, and, but as I was going through this, I wasn't dealing with the pain, and my drugs became alcohol, my drugs became weed, my drugs became money, my drugs became hard work and working a lot. A lot of women, they tend to make their drugs shopping. I don't know if any of you guys have like this thing for shopping. Sometimes we make it food. Sometimes we make it just, now one of the biggest drugs is social media. We get a dopamine hit off of another like, a comment, a share, or just like how many of you guys are like in business? Is everyone in business? Or so how many of you found yourself just like scrolling through your fucking email and like you're gonna find a solution and there's no solution there? Has anyone been there before, right? And so I was, through this journey, I really started financial freedom because I thought it was gonna make me happy. So I want a full disclosure. Financial freedom makes your life better, but it will not fulfill you. Is everyone with me here? Money does not bring happiness, but it does make life fucking better. I can promise you that, okay? It's like that old joke, like, hey, people say money doesn't buy you happiness, but have you ever seen anyone like frowning as they're driving on their jet ski? Right? Like, no, they're always smiling. They're happy, right? So, couldn't buy you something. Okay, but as I went through this journey, I did it by 31, became financially free with that definition we talked about. Passive residual income pay for our desired lifestyle. How many of you guys, who knows what passive residual income is? Does anyone know? Who doesn't know what passive residual income is? So let's just get clear on that. Passive income is, let's say, like I buy a real estate investment property and it pays me $1,000 a month, every month, into my bank account, and I don't have to do much except for kind of slightly manage it. So it's like money that just shows up. That's passive income. Residual income is very similar. So like an insurance agent could create that, or like with our online academy called the WGR Academy, it's where we get money distributed into our account every single month, but it takes a little bit more management. Like if you look at an insurance agent, like they have a book of people that pay them every month, but they got to service their clients a little more. Does that make sense? So this idea of never having to be able to fully step out of work and managing is a fucking lie. Like you always are going to have to manage something, so get great at it. Okay, get great at that. And what we have to do is write this down. I am an excellent money manager. How many of you guys are going through life with your money thinking that like, I want to retire, I want to pay off my debt, I want financial freedom, but I don't know what to fucking do, so I'm going to kind of wait for someone else to do it for me. Like who's with me? Like you kind of avoid it just a little bit. Be honest with yourself. You just, and I'm going to tell you, like the more you avoid it, the more it's going to hurt you in the long run, okay? So there are 5 different types of money personalities, okay? Number 1 is an avoider. They just don't want to deal with it. They just don't want to pay attention with it. They are just going to try and let someone else deal with it, okay? Number 2 is, it's actually what I am, and I learned this from my dad and my grandpa, but I'm a saver. So this is a very, like, you think it's going to be a great thing, but it's actually very detrimental because savers are losers today in this world. I don't know if you paid attention to the economy and how fucked up it is, and we're $21 trillion in debt as a nation, and no one knows what's going on, right? But savers are actually losing money because of the rate of increase of digits into our economy. Therefore, if your money's just sitting in the bank, you're actually losing buying power every single day, okay? But the great thing about a saver is at least you have some money that when you can change your beliefs, you can invest it and spend it wisely. Write this down. What drives our economy is spending. Now, it's either spending with 2 ways, cash or credit. That's how we can keep the economy going. It is not debt-free that keeps the economy going. That's why the government every few years does a bailout. They launch some quantitative easing. They put money into circulation because it's the circulation that keeps it going. When we had the meltdown, who was in the business 2007, 2009? I'm so grateful I didn't know what the fuck I was doing then, as I watched everyone lose their shit, and I just kept working, okay? But what I realized is why the economy stopped so quickly is because the spending stopped. And what happened to stop the spending so fast is credits stopped. We are now seeing, pay attention to this, auto loans are at the highest default rate they've been in a very long time. So pay attention to that, because if they are starting to default, they're going to start tightening up on the credit limits because they're not bringing in revenue. You guys follow me a little bit? So pay attention to that. So spending is what drives our economy, okay? Third money personality type is a spender. Who's my spenders out there? Like you just spend without regards. You're like, I'll get it later. But you just start spending money and it feels great. Don't look at Amanda. I know why you're all looking at Amanda, guys. Come on, stop. But it's like you.
I still drive a little box car. Like,
Right, perfect. Right, so we have this.
Like nice shit in here, okay.
spender money personality type, where we just spend without regards. We want something, we get it, right? I was married to a spender, so you can see the challenge there. Me being a saver, her being a spender, that like put some fucking tension on this relationship we didn't even know how to do. Plus, no one gave us that manual of like how to communicate. We did not get that one. So we can see of like our money personalities will cause some different challenges. Who's with me here? You're starting to see that. The number 4 money personality type is called the money monk, right? Like, money's evil. Like, you're never going to get to heaven if you have it, right? Like, who knows what I'm talking about? Some of us grew up that way, that money is a bad thing. Or you've heard money, the love of money is the root of all evil, right? I think stupidity is the root of all evil, but that's in a different book, right? So if we look at that, is we have to really align up what are our beliefs or our spiritual beliefs around money, because money can be used for really great things. An example that I love is John Huntsman Sr., because he was so involved with the church, he called his tithing my membership dues, but I believe we should give like 80% of what we make, and that dude gave away so much money. And what we have to look at as giving is this. Write this down. I am a generous giver and an excellent receiver. How many of you guys give and give and give, but you fucking suck at receiving? Raise your hand. You've got this, you're either a pleaser or a manipulator, right? So when we can learn to be real, like find that side of it with money, the more we focus on and expand that, the more we can train ourselves to receive, okay? So number 4 is what's called a money monk. It's like money's spiritually not that great. And then the 5th money personality type. 5th money personality type is called an amasser. This is someone that's kind of a narcissist motherfucker that just wants to get everything. Like they want to stack it up and show how badass their stuff is, right? So you can see like all of these personalities have some good and some bad, because how many of you guys want a nice house? Raise your hand if you're okay with that. How many of you guys would like to have a nice new vehicle, Tesla or something you drive around in? Who's okay with that? How many of you'd like to fly first class and go on a first class vacation to Costa Rica? Who's open to that idea, right? So there are some things like, hey, listen, I can treat myself with this. I don't have to live under the bridge. But at the same time, how many of you wish that you had some money that you could save more of and spend it on investments to create financial freedom? Who would like that? How many of you would like to, you know what, sometimes I just want to go and buy a new pair of shoes without feeling guilty. Who's there, right? Because we might go buy the shoes, but then we feel a little guilty afterwards. So there's these different areas of good and bad we can take with money. Yes? Okay, here's what I want you guys to do really quickly, okay? I want you to take like 1 to 2 minutes. Did you guys all have note paper, or do we need to get some more notepad? Because I want you guys taking some, we're going to do a written activity.
I can get some more.
Get some.
Just grab something empty, yeah, just grab some little.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
This is better for me. This is how my whole life is. No one's on random paper.
Me too.
But I know like
It's like big yellow sticky under my desk, and there are 7 folders. I'm like,
So you need more paper?
I'm like, 'cause I know that.
You're fine, or you want me to go? Okay. Everyone good?
Well, I'm just glad I walked up for.
Okay. We good? Everyone got some paper?
Yes.
We back, refocus.
Right?
Okay, on your paper for 1 to 2 minutes, I'm going to give you 1 to 2 minutes. I just want you to write down some of your beliefs around money. You could take from these money personalities we talked about, but I'll give you an example. When I was growing up, my mom used to tell me that rich people screwed people over to get money, right? Like that was a belief I grew up with. Or who's heard this saying, money doesn't grow on what? Right, but actually it literally fucking does. It's like paper, right? But, well, today it's not. Today it's all digital. But, so we had these beliefs growing up, right? So just for 1 to 2 minutes, write down, be super authentic, super vulnerable, because you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you what? Free, right? So if you can just be honest with yourself, what are some of your beliefs about money? Just write it down on a piece of paper. Any questions? Ready, go. $20 to the nonprofit.
20 bucks in the jar. I love it.
Some magazines, does anyone want one to write on? To put underneath your paper? Here, let me grab some. Kinda hard to write when you don't have a hard thing. Okay, who wants one? Raise your hand. Anybody else? Okay.
Anyone need more time? Sorry, anyone need more time? We're good. Okay, here's what I want you to do is I want you to grab a person sitting next to you. And so everyone grab a partner real quick and pick a partner A and a partner B. So know who your partner A is. Partner A, hold on, before you do anything, right up here. Whoa, wait, whoa, we're all talking. So pick a partner A and a partner B. Partner A's, raise your hand so I know who your partner A are. Okay, partner A, here's what you're gonna do. You guys are gonna do a little bit share. You're gonna take turns sharing what some of your beliefs are. So partner A, point to your partner and say, I'm going first.
I'm going first.
Okay, so just take 30 seconds and share and then I'll tell you when to switch. Yes? All right, go. All right, switch if you haven't already switched. Switch with your partner. Now the other partner share. Partner B share. What's up? I'm teaching Financial Freedom Nation to these beautiful ladies at the Hustle and Heart headquarters here in Ogden. All right, let's stop. Who had a little bit of discovery just right now? Raise your hand if that's you. Awesome. So who wants to stand up and share with the group what their beliefs are that they're discovering? Who'd like to stand up and share? Candace, go ahead and stand up.
Kind of funny, but I grew up really poor, so some of my beliefs were broke. So even when I have money, I think I'm broke. There's never enough money. We'll have to wait until the next payday. And then as I got older, they kind of changed a little bit. If you work hard enough, you can have anything, but we don't have the money for it right now. And success isn't about money.
Oh, wow. Give her a hand.
That is good.
Is it a little, challenging to be that authentic in front of everyone? Is it a little, So let me ask you this. Are you open to a little bit of just, where is this costing you in your life? What is this costing you?
It's created me to be an oversaver. So like some of the things you said about the savers, I'm like, yeah, if I don't have a certain amount of money in my bank account, I panic.
Do you stress a little bit?
Yeah.
How does that physically make you feel?
Sick.
Fucking sucks. Who's with me here that sucks?
Yeah, and my money's not working for me there.
Right?
So.
Yeah. Here's a very important belief to create about money. Write this down, okay? Blew my fucking mind once I got it. Money is not real. I want you to think about that for a second. Whoever goes to a restaurant, who's gone to a restaurant before? Where did you go? Where's the restaurant? Tony. You went to Tona. You got all this fucking delicious sushi. Eat way more than you probably should because it's so delicious.
So
Right? Walking out with your pants unbuttoned. And then you're like, oh, I need some sake. Okay, but then when you eat the food, they bring you, what do they bring you at the end of your meal? A check, a bill. And what do you usually do?
Pull out your debit card.
Pull out this freaking thing, and I just give them this, They go and do some stuff, they come back, and I just do this, and then I leave. Like, literally, that is what is happening. But our mind has this belief that we have to pay for it. Who's with me here? Write this down. And not only with money, but in your entire fucking life, pay yourself first. Stop paying everyone else. I'm talking wake up and breathe for yourself first. Give yourself, who wants more peace in your life right now? Like, raise your hand. Peace is like this ultimate thing that I was really after with financial freedom. What I learned has nothing to do with money. It's when I wake up and I choose myself over everything else. You've heard the old saying, like when you're riding in an airplane and the oxygen mask drops down, put it on who first? Why not the 3-year-old next to you?
Can't save them if
Right.
they're not alive.
What good are you going to be to that 3-year-old if you're passed the fuck out in an emergency? You get what I'm saying? So one of the strategies we're going to talk about as we go through this today with your money is pay yourself first. Have you noticed that we're always paying everyone else first? We're like, we got the mortgage payment, we got the car payment, we got the motherfucking taxes that they're robbing from us, which is just a theft. We got, like, everyone wants their money first, and then we're like, oh, once I get this paid, and once I get caught up, then I'll be able to start doing this. Who's with me here? I'm going to tell you right now, if you do that strategy, you will be fucking dead without ever paying yourself. 100%. Less than 2% of people in the United States will get to the point of financial freedom throughout their lifetime. 5% will be financially stable. 95% will be fucking broke by the time they're dead. What do you want to be a part of? The broke or the financially free? Got it? You got to change your beliefs. Thank you for sharing. Who else? What's your name back here? Ellie. Stand up, Ellie. Give Ellie a round of applause. Say, woo! We love Ellie!
So I grew up super poor, and between the ignore it and the spender, like both. My husband's a super duper saver, and so save for retirement, but enjoy life. You're not going to climb Moab when you're 80 years old. Always carry cash, you'll spend less. That's what my dad always told me. Money doesn't just happen, you have to work for it. Being a business owner, every day when I wake up, I have to make a decision of what I'm doing, how I market myself, if I don't market, I don't make money. If I don't make relationships, like you said, I don't make money. Life is better when money is available.
I kind of agree with that one. Who's with me? My favorite. So, what do you do for business?
I'm a heating and air conditioning technician.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. So here's something. She talked about relationships. Your net worth is your network, right? And I don't mean just financially. I mean the value that you bring. That's why you guys all being here is freaking awesome. This is a great energy. Yes? Give Amanda a round. Give Ellie a round. Awesome. Anyone else want to share some of their beliefs? Tell me your name. Oh, yeah. I didn't notice you like your hat on. You get all dressed down. Go ahead, Jenna. Go ahead, stand up, Jenna.
She's not rapid with some chains around her neck. We couldn't recognize her.
How many of you guys will... Hold on 1 second, Janet. How many of you guys are lenders in here? Loan officers, right? You guys meet with a lot of people that come in your checking credit score. How many broke motherfuckers we got out there in the world? Right? Everyone don't. And you know what's funny?
No one has money.
Here's what
Even
it's...
when they make money.
That's what I'm saying. Even if they make a lot of money, they're still broke. I learned that early on in my career when I started seeing all these real estate agents making a ton of money, and then all of a sudden they're getting out of the fucking business, the market shift. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I thought you just... So that's my point. It's not how much money you earn, it's how you manage your money. If you can't manage $1, you're never going to be able to manage $1 million. $1 million is not your answer. Cash flow management is. Jenna, thank you. Go ahead and share.
So I grew up like you, Colton, where, just middle class, everything was cool, this status quo. My dad is super, super, super conservative, and this is something that really affected me in my life, growing up and having a successful mortgage business and allowing myself to have money.
Yep.
Because you don't need it. That's too much. That's excessive. You don't need to make that much money. You don't need this house. You don't need that car. Like, that's insane. You don't need to do any of that. And so that's been something that, until the day I finally said, I'm gonna bust through the ceiling, not have a ceiling, period, and allow myself to make as much money as I'm able that comes my way, that was a game changer. Because I had this cute dad of mine's voice in my head that just kept telling me, you don't
Right.
need it, you don't need it, you don't need it, that's excessive. So, anyway.
Awesome. Great share. So how many of you guys can see that our beliefs from what we grew up with limit us or allow us to launch? And so how many of you guys heard this phrase, you got to think outside the box? Who's heard of that? Throw that fucking shit out. There's no fucking boxes that we're in, right? Like, Just live, just be free. Like, what do you want to create? What do you want to create financially? And it starts with your belief systems, okay? Anyone else want to share before we go on? Going once, go ahead, stand up. Give her a round.
That's my big mama.
My parents were, my dad was a doctor, and he went through med school. My mom put him through. We had no help. He had a little bit of GI stuff to help us, but we were poor. And they worked their asses off. They were givers. They were always everyone else before them, and I absorbed all that. So my beliefs are you have to work your ass off to make money, and others always come before yourself, and that you're not worth as much as everybody else. Like, I've accepted that I can make less than other people. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Let me ask you this. Where else does that show up in your life?
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm aware of it now. I've made some progress.
That's cool that you're aware of it.
And
Give her a
my
hand
life-
that she's aware of it.
I have a good one now, but yeah, I accepted that everywhere.
Yeah.
So anyway.
No, that's great share. Thank you so much for sharing. That's super vulnerable. Here's something really interesting as we look at our emotional state. She had even said that, not even like in about money, but like everyone else is like more important or worth more than me, right? Usually our relation with money has a little bit to do with our self-worth as well. But also, we could get into this very narcissistic stage. Who's met a narcissist before where they make a lot of money and they just think they're amazing? Really, that person is needy and insecure. Okay? I used to be a narcissist, so I get it, right? But emotionally, it's about everything. We have to pay ourselves first. Here's why we struggle with business or finances or relationship or health. It's because we have been trained to invest in other people's emotions before our own. Who's with me there? Like, we literally are more worried about this person being happy before me being happy. And I'll be fucking in the corner suffering because I want her to be happy. You got me here? So that's another example of pay myself first. Start investing in your own emotional state first. You'll have more to give. It's like a lighthouse in sight. The more you light that up, the more you're going to shine, and people are going to attract to you. You follow me a little bit? Like, just my energy. How many of you guys feel like I'm a pretty excited, outgoing person? This didn't happen by mistake because I had to rewire my brain to think and to act this way, which is proof anyone can do it. Like, if a weirdo that grew up middle class and was on drugs and alcohol and whatever was able to create this, anyone can do it. You with me here? Cool. So what I want to be able to do is understand, now that we know some of our beliefs, I want to be able to restructure them. So everyone has a piece of paper that I gave them, right, with some words on it. Can I? Oh, I got one right here. So everyone stand up, okay? Hey, how are you doing? Does everyone have one of these papers?
Yes.
So I want you to just tattoo this into your brain, okay? Repetition is the mother of all skill. So if I want to recreate my beliefs around money, I have to repetitively put new beliefs in. You got me here? So on this piece of paper, and I got this from one of the early programs I went to. It's called Quantum Leap. Millionaire Mind Intensive, where I first got it. I've done all the fucking trainings, and it reprogrammed me completely when it comes to money. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our hand on our heart, and we're going to read through these, okay? So I'll just lead us. We'll start up top. I create my life. I create the exact amount of my financial success. I play the money game to win. My intention is to create wealth and abundance. I admire and model rich and successful people. I believe money is important, money is freedom, and money makes life more enjoyable. I get rich doing what I love. I deserve to be rich because I add value to other people's lives. I am a generous giver and an excellent receiver. I am truly grateful for all the money I have now. Lucrative opportunities always come my way. My capacity to earn, hold, and grow money expands day by day. I am an excellent money manager. I always pay myself first. I put money into my financial freedom account every day. My money works hard for me and makes me more and more money. I earn enough passive income to pay for my desired lifestyle. I am financially free. I work because I choose to, not because I have to. My part-time business is managing and investing my money and creating passive income streams. Ooh, everyone give yourself a hand. Go ahead and sit down. How many of you guys notice a difference in the energy of those words versus the limiting beliefs that you wrote down earlier? Who notices it, right? But listen, here's how our brain works. We've got two major parts. You've heard of the conscious mind, yes, and you've heard of the unconscious mind. Our unconscious mind is more than just our brain. It's actually our entire body, our entire nervous system. So whether you're 25 or 45 or 34 or whatever age you are, you've got that many years of programming into your unconscious mind and your nervous system. So if you just read these one time, it's going to feel good for a second. Commitment gets you started, recommitment keeps you going. So you've got to repetitively put these belief systems into your mind, into your nervous system every single day. So there's several ways that you can do this. Number one, I read these out loud almost every freaking day, 3 times a day. And now it's to the point where I use different types of declarations. Some are with like, now I'm really focusing on relationship because fuck if I get divorced again, right? So we're going, who's with me on that one? No one wants that one again, right? So, it's in every area of our life we have these belief systems and we have to consciously reprogram it. Here's the whole reason why we have a conscious mind. It's to spend time programming the unconscious mind. That's the only reason you have the conscious mind. So depending on how you're spending your time consciously, are you doing it mindfully or are you doing it mindlessly? You guys with me here? So around money, we have to do it mindfully. Yes? Mm-hmm. Yes. Cool. So as we do that, we can then reprogram. So one way is to read it out loud every single day. Another way to do this, handwrite it out every single day. Here's why. It gets your nervous system moving. It starts to reprogram and create what are called new neural pathways. And it's like riding a bike. Was it a little bit challenging at first? But you can do it, and then all of a sudden it becomes automatic. Who remembers when you first got your driver's license, and you're driving, and you're like doing the like, making sure you're following the instructions, you're even a little bit nervous with it. Now you're like fucking texting and driving and putting makeup on, and you can get there. Yes? It's because you programmed it into your unconscious mind. Now I don't recommend doing that. But you guys get what I'm saying? So one way is to write it down. Another way that you can do it is record yourself saying it and then put it on your iPhone. Because if you have an Android, you're weird. You should have definitely an iPhone. And then you listen.
It's called Think Up, and you can actually put these in there and it'll record it and read it back to you.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So,
it's affirmation software.
so I would recommend you record it in your own voice there. Because how,
It does.
oh, perfect. How powerful is it if you hear your own self saying that?
Yeah.
Okay? So these are a couple of ways that you can reprogram. Plus, there's other ways that you can do it with, like, let's say, how many of you guys like to go to the gym and do the treadmill or the elliptical or something, or right? So what I'll do is I was swimming yesterday. So while I'm swimming, I'm literally saying these declarations while I'm swimming because our body is at a higher peak state. Our nervous system is firing at a higher level. And so while we're doing that, we're literally saying, hey, take this through our circuitry. You with me here? But you have to consciously decide what area you're going to work on in your life. So this whole purpose to be here today is financial freedom. Who wants more financial freedom? Say yes.
Yes.
Right. So then how many of you guys are going to be committed to do it over and over and over again? Right? So one of the things we have to look at is, I like to compare it to meditation. Does anyone in here meditate? So I've been meditating since 2008 is when I first started transcendental meditation. I've progressively got more into it. When I first started meditating, I thought it was like, I got to silence myself. And I could never do that because I don't know about you guys, but I got this voice going on in my head and start talking to me. And if you're saying, what voice is he talking about? That's the fucking voice I'm talking about, right? And so now all of a sudden we're chattering. And then I heard this thing about positive thinking. Who's heard about positive thinking? Right? It was like, fuck, I'm going to be positive here. And all of a sudden my positive's talking to the negative. And I realized, fuck, I'm still in this conversation. And the only way to leave it is to just let the shit go. You got me here? So part of meditation, what I found out, it wasn't about going to the silence more often. It was about being more consciously aware of what thoughts and conversation were in my head. And then me saying, you know what, that's cool, let it go. And I would do it more and more and come back to this space of just peace and tranquility the more I did it. Same thing, if our target is financial freedom, how many of you guys think you're going to leave here today and you're going to get a little bit distracted? Yes or yes?
Yeah.
So the idea is, how can I become a little bit more consciously aware of what thoughts I'm having, and when I get distracted, let it go, come back to your focus. A way you can go back to your focus is through your declarations right here. Any questions? Awesome. Cool. So what I want you guys to do is if you can read my handwriting, you get a prize. That's cool. But I'm going to go through 6 steps to create financial freedom. These are the fundamentals that I discovered that if I followed these 6 steps, and I didn't really get it before, it was afterwards I realized that I did this. How many of you guys get life is like that? It gives us the test, and then we learn the lesson, right? Like, that's the story of it. So thankfully, I was able to learn the lesson after I went through the test, and now I'm going to be able to share that with you. Is that cool or is that cool? Okay, so number 1 step in order to create financial freedom is cash flow management. If you can, I've said this earlier, if you cannot manage $1, you're never ever going to manage $1 million. How many of you think that like if I can make more money, that's the answer? And then you made more money and you're like, fuck, I'm still broke. What the fuck's going on? It's because it's not more money that's the answer. It's the cash flow management. So here's what cash flow management means. When money flows through me, it's going to go past me somewhere else. It's going to go to the bank. It's going to go to Amazon. A lot of it goes to fucking Amazon. It's going to go to car payment, house payment, kids stuff, this, that, the other, right? Who gets what I'm talking about? Okay? So what we need to do with our beliefs is create a filter that when money flows through us, we are guiding where it's going. Who's with me here? Unfortunately, what we've been trained to do is we don't even fucking know where to guide it to, right? Like no one told us. And so there's the American dream and we're all fucking selling it, own your fucking house. And now all of a sudden I own my house, but I can't pay to fucking fix the roof or do anything else. And I'm broke. And actually, I just literally had clients come in the other day, past clients. I love them to death. And they're like, Colton, what do we do? I'm like, well, what's going on? We have $55,000 in credit card debt. Who's with me here when like that's what's going on with our society because no one's teaching us and it's not their fault. Yeah. They don't know. Okay, it happens. And then what happens is we feel embarrassed and we feel shameful and we don't want to tell anyone because like I should fucking know this. But you're like, well, why should I know this? Okay? So number 1 is cash flow management. And I didn't put this on the board, but there are 7 different accounts that you want to manage it through. And I can't go in like complete detail how to do this today. If anyone's interested, you can let me know. I have a whole 8 video training module that you can get and go through it. It's created so many financial free people inside of my personal mastermind. These people literally pay $5,000 just to get into the program with me up front. So like this, I'll give you that program if you guys want to reach out to me. I'm not for free. I'll fucking charge for it, right? Because, let me know if you guys, right? Pay myself first, right? So if anyone wants that, but here's the 7 different accounts. Number 1 is your financial freedom account. This is the pay me first account. This is the money that I'm going to invest into creating passive or residual income. Okay? How many of you guys just don't invest because like you never set the money aside and you're like, one day I'm going to do it? Be honest, who's done that? Has anyone ever not invested because they never put themselves first? Don't fucking lie to me, guys. I see it all the time, right? How many of you guys like put money aside, but then you're like, well, I don't know like where to actually spend it, so I'm gonna go to this dude that does my 401k, and he's gonna tell me where to do it, and little do I know, he's fucking charges outrageous fees, and over the life of my 401k, I'll probably spend like an extra 400k that if I would have taken some knowledge and learned, I could have put an extra 400k in my pocket. Who wants an extra 400k? Say yes, right? Cool. So number 1 is our financial freedom account. So this is money that you're only going to spend on some sort of asset that's going to pay you over and over again. Now, what I want to be very clear on is investing is not doing fix and flips. Investing is not doing wholesales. That is transactional and that is a business. That is passive residual income is I buy it and it's like the goose that lays the golden egg. How many of you guys have heard that story? Like I got the goose and it lays me a golden egg every single day, right? Do you guys hear what the farmer and the wife did? Like they're like, oh shit, this guy's giving me some golden eggs. So they're like, I'm gonna cut into the goose and get all the golden eggs. But when they did that, they realized there was no golden eggs there. Now the goose was dead and they got no more golden eggs, right? So what we wanna be able to do is buy something that creates a golden egg every single day. But it takes time, it goes over time. It's called compound interest. So the first account is our financial freedom account, okay? Second account is called long-term savings for spending. Now there's 3 different areas that we're gonna spend on this, okay, that we use this money. Number 1 is we wanna save something for like something cool, like we wanna go on a cool vacation with our family, we wanna get a down payment for a house or a down payment for a car, something like that. The other way we're going to use this money is like I have a medical emergency, like my kid just got her jaw or her chin knocked open and I got to go to the doctor and I got to pay for these stitches and well shit, I'm a fucking realtor and I don't have great insurance, so I'm like paying full like myself, right? Who's with me here? You know what I'm talking about? Like healthcare is expensive. So the other way you're going to use this is for unexpected emergencies. It could be a medical emergency. It could be you're driving down the road and my radiator just blew up in my car, or I got into an accident I wasn't planning on getting and I need to pay the down payment, or what's that called, the deductible on my insurance, right? So that's where that money would come from. How many of you guys would have like a much better relationship with money when that bad shit happens if you like knew that's what this money would for? I'm not saying you're gonna be excited to pay the $2,000 for the couple of root canals, but you're gonna feel much more comfortable if you knew the money was there. Who's with me when you know what I'm talking about, okay? Less anxiety, right? And more peace, more confidence. That's what we want to take a look at. And then the third way that you're going to spend the long-term savings account is going to be for, like, let's say you have who's had some bad debt in their life before. Like they got these, R.C. Willie had this 0% interest for 18 months. Now it's like 22%, right? Or you got these credit cards or whatever. It's going to be used, and I can't teach the whole program how to do it here, but it's going to be used to pay down bad debt. Because not all debt is bad. Like I own 5 rental properties in South Ogden, and I think I owe like 90 grand on them. They're worth about $500,000. And like that's good debt because it's paying me, it's servicing me, it's leveraging me, right? But if I had $90,000 in like R.C. Willie's and credit card and like just these types of things, that's considered bad debt. So we're going to use long-term savings to use a strategic plan to pay down bad debt. I literally just had one of my mastermind partners do this, and she had 7 credit cards totaling like $23,000, right? And within 3 months, she had them completely wiped out. So you're going to use that to do that. Now, she is a freaking badass, and she's doing about $300K a year in revenue, so she can pay it off more quickly. But the strategy is the same nonetheless. Yes? Third bucket or third account that you guys want to create is called your fun account. Okay? Your fun account. A fun account is great for savers and spenders, because how many of you guys feel like you might be a saver, like you just save money but you never actually spend it? Is anyone in there, right? So that was me. I would save, but then I would never enjoy the money I was making. So this account is a rule that like every month I get to go spend it on me. I get to go spend it freely without any guilt. It might be like go get a massage or go get a pedicure, or like I just, one day I wanted a new iPhone 10 because I did. And so I got a new iPhone 10. I had enough money in that account, right? So I didn't have to like feel guilty about it.
He was so proud of himself.
In fact, like in like these boots, like for some reason I wanted some bison hide boots that were like $250, but I just went and did it out of that account and I felt guilt-free. Does that make sense? And I even started to use it as like a way to like celebrate myself and treat myself. But for spenders, it's great too, because it puts a limit on your spending. So you still can kind of feel that void or that I want to spend, and keep you inside of a limit with your play account. Okay. The fourth account that I recommend you have is called your giveaway account. Who has an idea what your giveaway account is going to be for? It's going to be for you to contribute to Amanda's nonprofit organization, Spread the Love, so that everyone can have more love, or whatever you want to give to. But also this account could be give to, like, one of the things that was really cool is I started becoming more financially successful. I love to give to my friends and family. So I remember one year for my birthday, I took everyone to Kobe. Like I had my aunt there, my uncle, my cousins, like everyone, took them there, and like I paid for it all out of my giveaway account. So, or like I always wanted to be able to do things for my parents because, you know, like they're fucking awesome, right? So just feeling like I can go do that stuff for people like that as well, okay? So the fifth one that you're going to have is called your necessities account. Necessities account is going to be like your mortgage, your rent, your car payment, your utilities, that type of stuff. Like, or if you have a business, it's going to be your operating expense and those things. Now, I do recommend, and most people when they first start can't do this, but you want to get that account to be 55 or 50% or less of your total revenue. what most people are doing is like 105% of their total revenues. They're spending more than they make. So that might be difficult at first, which is okay. When you get these, inside the program, I have percentages recommended that ideally you want to work towards. But I don't even care if you can only put $1 into each of these accounts every single week or month or whatever it is, because what's more important is the habit that you're creating as you're rewiring the nervous system. Think of this creating financial freedom as like planting crops. Like if I go plant my crops here like it's coming up, what are the odds that the next day I'm going to have some corn on the cob ready to eat? Right? It's not going to happen. I got to wait the time for God, the universe, nature, for something way higher than me to make it happen. You guys with me here? Yes or yes? Hello, you guys here? We wait? Oh, that was a loud clap. Oh, so, cool. So we got 5. Is that how many I gave you so far? 5?
Yes.
Okay. 6. This also is a pay yourself first account. Like, how many of you guys know you don't know everything and you need to learn some more? Yes or yes? Like, how many of you guys know that there's this, I've heard about these people going to like this really cool program called like Date with Destiny or UPW or Financial Freedom Nation, which is an awesome virtual training program you guys should check out. But like one day, when I have the money, I got to do some other stuff first. Who's with me here, right? So the 6th account is called your education account. And Mark Twain said, don't let school get in the way of your education. So education is about how do I go learn more and reprogram myself to live at a better version of me. When we have goals, it is not achievement of goals that are important. It's who we become in the process. Are you guys with me here? So the education account is what is actually, when I followed this, what allowed me to learn more to do this. I've spent, besides college, which was a waste of fucking money, I spent almost $200,000 just on doing personal growth and education, from doing Mastering University with Tony like you've done, to freaking studying with the Native Americans in the middle of the Mojave Desert, to fucking other wild crazy shit. But I've done all this stuff to grow and to develop and to educate myself, okay? So the education account is like another piece to pay yourself first, because when you put money into that account, and now all of a sudden, like UPW, that's happening like the next couple of days. When you have the opportunity, you've got the money in a bank, like in that account, it's so easy just to slap it down and go and do it. You don't have to second think about it. You guys with me here? And then the 7th account, which for some of you, because I know you're lenders or you have W-2s, right? You guys kind of get fucked in the whole scheme of things. It's called I like to call it country donations account. Everyone else calls it my taxes, but it feels better for me when I call it country donation. The challenge for you guys that are W-2, who are my W-2 people here? Okay, the challenge for you guys, unfortunately, is you guys are the highest taxed individuals in the United States of America, and there's nothing you can do about it. So the only way that you can change that is start a business. I recommend everyone start a business, and even if it's a fucking losing money business, start a business and start operating it, because now you can start writing off way more expenses. And I know of lenders, I think there's some things you can write off. Either way, you're the highest tax people. Second highest tax people in the United States is the self-employed person. Do I have any realtors in here besides me? Okay, so self-employed people, like if you're running your business as a sole proprietor and not as filed as an S Corp LLC, you're paying like 40% way more taxes, and that's just crazy as shit. Okay, so the 7th account that I recommend is your country donations, and as shitty as it is to pay that, make sure you get that shit fucking handled out, or you'll end up in prison one day like Willie Nelson. Yes? Cool. Second one. Where are we at on time here? We still got plenty of time?
We're good, yeah.
Okay, second one on the 6 steps, on the 6 fundamentals to create financial freedom is called financial literacy. What's the word? Financial what?
Literacy.
This is where we have to educate and reprogram our minds financially. The challenge that we have in our society is that we tend to not take stewardship of our own finances, and we kick the can down the road thinking that our financial advisor is going to take care of it, our accountant's going to take care of it, or my spouse is going to take care of it like I fucking did for 9 fucking years. But you get what I'm talking about is we then push it off to someone else. We have to take ownership for ourselves. And we have to get educated. We have to take on the financial literacy. My responsibility, okay? One of the things I teach all the time in one of my programs is called life management. Your life, your show, your reality. And unless we start to consciously create it through financial literacy, you will never, ever become financially free. It's never going to happen by chance. Even if you win the lottery, you're going to fucking lose it all because you don't know how to manage it. You're going to blow it on stupid stuff. In fact, that's actually a study. Most people that win the lottery will go broke within 3 to 5 years. Completely fucking broke. Look at how many professional athletes make so much money and then they go broke. Who remembers O.J. Simpson? That motherfucker just got out of prison. He's so broke, right? Right? He's got some other issues. But so the second thing is financial literacy. This means you need to take education courses, live events, Financial Freedom Nation, virtual academies. Like, you need to get out there and learn. Even as much as I disagree with Dave Ramsey because he makes his money literally through residual income, Financial Peace University is a great place to go. But I will say this about him. He will teach you to be fucking middle class and drive an old minivan. So if you like that, go that way. But I would prefer to drive a badass car. Like right now, I have my FJ Cruiser because I love it. It might not be cool for everyone, but it's 2014. It's limited edition. Heritage Brew. It's like what I want, right? So whatever, if you want to create the financial freedom, not just debt-free, and that's what he's teaching, okay? But great course to go through. So find out where you want to get educated from, and through your education account, guess what? Because you're managing your cash flow, you can sign up for those programs. And over time, you're going to just accumulate more money, and if you manage the flow, you'll have then more money to spend on education later. Yes? Yes. Cool. Third one, for you guys that are real estate people or in the industry, you know that we have a problem with buying liabilities. Who's with me here? They're like, fuck, I just made some money. I need a new Escalade. Yeah? Right? Or I need a bigger house. I don't know what that is with realtors. Like, we think, oh, we got more money. I need a bigger house for some reason. Right? Or like, you know what? I just need to go on a badass vacation or whatever it is. We then are trained, and it's not just real estate people, but in our society, we're trained to buy liabilities. Now, a liability takes money out of our pocket. An asset puts money into our pocket. So third step, I want you guys to say this, obsessively buy assets. Write that down. Obsessively buy assets. An asset puts money into our pocket every single day. Okay? So let me give you an idea of some liabilities. Liability, it's your car. Your car is probably one of your biggest liabilities. And I'm going to really contradict a lot of what our community says in real estate. Your house is a fucking liability. You're paying interest on it. You've got to maintain the yard. You've got to maintain the roof. You've got to maintain a lot of stuff. It is a liability, okay? Not saying you shouldn't own it, just own it smart, okay? Utilities, that's a liability. It's something we have to pay for. Credit cards, liabilities. Apparently in today's world, student loans are a giant freaking liability, right? That's a whole nother story that I won't go into, but they're liabilities. What are assets? Assets are going to be like stocks, dividend-paying stocks, rental properties. We have some assets we've created. A business is an asset because if you create it the right way, you can sell it for multiples. You can create residual income inside of your business. Here's some great assets that Garrett, that used to work with me, he bought a bunch of fucking gumball machines and went and placed them in these different convenience stores, and now he makes like $600 a month, and all he does is once a month go check on it, gets his coins, and make sure his gumballs are filled up. Is that a pretty easy job, right? But like, what are you gonna buy? You're gonna buy like a bunch of needless hoverboards that you don't need, or are you gonna go buy some gumball machines? So gumball machines, vending machines. So I really, really love real estate. I think it's probably the best, personally the best investment you can have. It's tangible. You can live in it. We're really in the shelter business. It's one of the necessities that we have for life. Business is also a great asset. So you guys get kind of an idea of what you're at. So obsessively buy or create assets is number 3. Any questions so far? High five your partner and say, this fucking rocks. Or just say, this rocks.
This fucking rocks.
Cool. Fourth one. Fourth strategy, fourth or step in creating financial freedom is maximize your tax-free wealth. I never understood why people wanted to pay the government money. I still don't understand that to this day because they're horrible at how they spend money. Who agrees with me? Raise your hand. So tax incentive is this. The government has created tax law that almost no one understands, but as a way to incentivize the flow of spending in our economy. So if we can understand the tax incentives, we can either use them to our advantage and we control how the money's spent, or if we don't use those, the government's going to say, hey, we're going to tax you, we're going to take it, and we get to control how we spend, okay? So tax-free wealth is by far, single-handedly, probably the quickest way you'll create financial freedom, because you'll be able to retain more money in your control that you get to decide how it's spent. Who's with me here a little bit? I'll give you an example. So recently, one of our mastermind partners, Kayla, it wasn't Kayla, Kristen, right? She just went through, got set up with Insight Tax, which I recommend to everyone. He does everything for me, all my businesses, entities, everything for the last 7 years. But he got with him, and as she went through this, she realized that the way she was doing things was going to cost her about $11,000 out of pocket more by the other way she was doing it. Now, how many of you guys literally, when you get to the end of this, which is happening right now, tax season, would love to keep $11,000, right? Now, here's the other lie that we see with tax-free wealth is because we were referred like this tax guy that supposedly is the best, but we've never actually challenged him, and he doesn't fucking know tax law because no one knows tax law, and he's playing it safe, so he's like, oh, you got to do this conservative W-2. Next thing you know, you're like taking $100,000 in W-2, paying way more high taxes than you need to pay, okay? So the other thing is you've got to challenge yourself with who is your tax consultant, who's on your tax team, and they have to understand that you guys are a partnership. Number one, I look at Dustin, my tax guy, as one major job to keep me out of jail because I'm going to push the limits as much as I can, and he's going to tell me if it's legal or not, okay? So we have to be able to understand tax law is to serve us, is to create an incentive of where we spend our money. Here's another story with Shauna. Shauna's freaking awesome, mastermind partner of mine. She does about $650,000 a year in revenue. She'll do 150 units this year. 50% is her, 50% is her team. Super cool gal, like 30 years old, awesome in Greensboro, North Carolina. So when she started with the program 3 years ago, she used to do taxes for H&R Block, right? So she would help people file taxes. So she thought she knew what she was doing. She did it, got everything ready to go. And as she was in the program, I said, hey, just talk to Dustin. Like, let's just see what we can do, right? And literally by doing that shift right before she filed her taxes, saved $7,000. She got to keep. What can you do with that $7,000? What I hope you don't do, like every other motherfucker out there, is go buy a new car or spend it on a vacation or do something. You're going to money manage that cash flow and put it back through your system. Yes? Yes. So tax-free wealth. If you're W-2'd, you got to change that quickly or create a strategy because you're going to be the highest taxed person in the entire United States and in most countries as well. Asset protection. Asset protection. So when you start to obsessively buy assets, you got to protect them. And one thing I recently learned, do I have anyone here that's been divorced before besides me? So a lot of people. I wished I would have known this before I was married. I wished I would have known that my marriage was a business transaction. I didn't know that until I was looking at the lawsuit to go through the petition, right? And then I realized that my dad was awesome because when I got the petition and I called my dad, I was like, he's like, yeah, I knew it was coming. Everyone was like, fuck, cool, thanks, Dad. But he was like, hey, but son, wake the fuck up and protect the estate that you've built going forward. So one of the things that I did very, very well is I started a business before I was married. And I don't mean this in a harmful way to my ex-wife at all. It's because I know that I woke up every fucking day to build my empire. Who's with me here, right? So in this depending on what state you're in, like the state of Utah has separate asset versus marital asset. If you strategically use asset protections through LLCs, through revocable trust, irrevocable trust, and you're able to strategize this, you can keep it separately to protect you. So one of the strategies that I will definitely use going forward, and I bring it up with women that I date now, is listen, when we get married, and I do it a little bit more kindly, we will have a prenuptial agreement in place. Not because I want to take advantage of you, but it's going to be easier to create our business negotiation when we're in a good state versus when we're pissed off at each other. Who's with me a little bit, right? So, and that's just an example that I really learned through asset protection. Luckily, I had gone through that, and I was like I had, what's his name? Greenwood and Associates down here. He looked at my shit and he's like, I've never seen anyone with such clean books and entities and everything. Like, this is very clearly separate asset versus marital asset. So that is huge. But how many of you guys maybe would like to get in a marriage where it stays together forever, right? Like, I believe that's possible. But there's other things that will happen. Like, maybe my wife is driving down the road and she's texting and driving and she gets into an accident, so now I get sued. right? Or how many of you guys do real estate deals, did nothing wrong, and have ended up in a lawsuit before? Like, that's me. In 13 years, I've ended up in 2 lawsuits of something I had nothing control over, right? So, but guess what? If you set up your estate the right way with your asset protection, you personally don't own anything, but you control the assets. So what you want to be able to do, and this is longer term stuff, but stuff to be aware of, you want to control your assets. You don't want to own them. Who's with me here? Okay? And then the 6th one, which I believe is the secret to it all, not only becoming financially free, but literally becoming free here in this mortal experience, right? How many of you guys find yourself stuck in shit that happened 20 years ago or even last week, talking to your stuff about, like, you're pissed off that someone said something, or you wished you would have done something, you're shooting all over yourself. Who should themselves before? Like, I should have done this, I should have done that. I'm here to tell you, if you should yourself, you got to go change your pants, because it's not a good thing, right? But how many of you guys find yourself getting stuck in the future? Like, I can imagine, like, I know you're going through a situation. When I was in my divorce, my thing was like, what's going to happen to my money, or what's going to happen to the relationship with my kids, or how, and so then we start, or like we have real estate deals and like shit pops up, because like every fucking deal is a problem, right? And then all of a sudden we're worried about like how it's going to end up, so we end up living in the future. Who's with me here, right? And so what happens, we feel like, we either feel a lot of awesome energy, which, who's felt awesome before? Raise your hand. But then we might feel like a lot of negative energy. Who's felt like negative energy before? Raise your hand. I want you to be honest with yourself. Most of your life, or throughout the week, do you spend it more in like the negative energy? And I'm not talking negative talk or positive talk. I'm like talking stressed, anxious, worried, afraid, right? Scared, jealous, depressed. And we literally have an epidemic of that in the world today. Or do you spend it more like peaceful, joyful, blissful, excited, grateful? Like, we all know gratitude is important, but do we really, truly feel it more often? Okay? And so the whole secret to this is to get really, really present in this moment and to experience how awesome this moment is. So it's called emotional state management. Now, when we're focused on the past, we feel like emotions of depression. Like, we can't let go of the past. You know, so many people say that they're afraid of death, and it really is a big fear. I actually believe it's not afraid of death that we're afraid of. We're addicted to death. We're actually afraid of life, because we're holding on to shit that's already gone, that's already dead. Who's with me here, right? But we're literally fucking afraid of this unknown part that's coming ahead of us. And you know what's cool? I was listening to this interview once with a guy named Joe Vitale, I think that's his name, from the movie The Secret. Who's heard of that Secret? The biggest fucking piece of shit movie on the planet, but it got us going into positive thinking and law of attraction. I know it does, like, all you got to do is think about it, and you fucking get a bike show up on your front door. Right? That's a lie. You got to do the work. Like, I'm here to tell you, like, you got to do the work, right? Action is the receiving. So anyways, he said, hey, he was asked the question, if I could go back to my 20-year-old self and give my 20-year-old self advice. And he's like 60-something years old now, right? He's like, what would you give your advice? He said, I would go back to my 20-year-old self and say, hey, listen, you're going to have some ups and downs, but everything turns out okay. Who's with me here on that? Like, we've got some ups and downs and some sad moments and some painful moments, but for the most part, everything turns out pretty fucking awesome, okay? And so what we have to be able to do is identify the past creates a lot of depression, the future creates a lot of anxiety. Who in here has felt anxiety before on a mass level? One time, this was a few years ago, I was high at the time too, so I don't think that helped, but I went to get my hair cut, and I was looking at myself in the mirror, and I was like, dude, I'm green. Like, I think something's wrong with me. I think I'm dying. It was the first time, you know, I used to just always smoke blunts, but then I started smoking these vape pens. Everyone's got them now, right? And like, but it was like the first time to come around, and I didn't really know what I was smoking, right? I was like, fuck, I don't know what I'm smoking. And then I asked the haircut lady, I was like, hey, like, is anything wrong with me? She's like, you look kind of green, and are you okay? I'm like, fuck, I start freaking out. My mind takes me to this place that I think I'm dying. Next thing I know, I've got this cape, like you know how they put the haircut cape on you? And I'm walking on Main Street in Layton, freaking the fuck out, thinking I'm dying, calling my friend, saying, dude, you gotta come get me. I'm dying, I'm high right now, and I'm having but like the anxiety was so freaking horrible. But I've also experienced that when I'm not high. That was just a funny story to tell you guys. How many of you guys have felt so much anxiety you literally thought you might be dying, or you're feeling so much pain? It's a horrible space to be in. But how many of you guys have felt so much depression you almost felt powerless, like there's nothing I can do about it, and you're just like discouraged, and you're like, I'm just going to lay here and sit in my bed and do nothing and think about my problems? Who's been there before? right? And so it's a horrible space to be in. I'm here to tell you more fucking pills and more fucking drugs and more alcohol is not going to fix that. But what is going to fix it is getting extremely present and authentic with yourself. And although it might be a little bit painful, you're going to feel that much more peace. You're going to feel that much more relief. And why that's important, when you can feel relief and when you can feel peace and tranquility and awesomeness and excitement and aliveness and gratitude, now all of a sudden it attracts to you. Because your energy is a magnet. Your thoughts control or direct what the magnet's attracting. So if you're feeling a negative emotion, like depression or anger or fear, like I bet a lot of you guys aren't depressed all the time, but you might feel frustrated very often, or you might feel anxious very often, or whoever feels overwhelmed in here, right? Like I just did all this shit, and I still got more shit to do. Like, does this shit ever stop, right? And so you have all these different, like when you're there though, that energy will actually attract. You're always attracting, but it's going to attract more bad shit, more shit that makes you frustrated, more shit that makes you overwhelmed, okay? So we want to be able to shift our blueprint, our thoughts, our state to where we're attracting more awesome shit. It's that simple, okay? But there's also, this is more in depth, there's more segments of that, because have you noticed that there's really unhappy people that have a lot of money, yes or yes, right? It's because they still have an energy that's attracting. It's just their thoughts they're putting out still attract a lot of money to that energy. Does that make sense? So your negative energy still pulls towards you. Your positive energy still pulls towards you. The biggest challenge I think that we've seen over the last 15 years, especially with entrepreneurs or business people, is this idea of positive thinking, right? Who's heard of positive thinking and thinks it's really a great idea? I think it is to an extent, but it actually is, here's what happens. We feel so much stress, so much overwhelmment, so much anxiety at sometimes, or irritation, that we get lost in the positive thinking and the busy work. Right? So we actually mask over the real energy and emotion that we're experiencing. Like, I've got 7 deals falling apart. My wife just filed for divorce. My kid is sick. I got, like, to fix my car and stuff. I'm positive and everything's going to fucking work out, right? Like, dude, no, like, hey, how many of you guys seen the first Lego movie? The Lego movie is everything is awesome, blah, blah, blah. How many of you seen the second Lego movie recently? Everything's not awesome all the time, and that's okay, because literally everything's not awesome all the time. But one of the things when it comes to emotional state is when you can fucking admit it's not awesome, and you can vulnerably share that. Because most of the time we want to pretend like it's all awesome, and we put this mask up. Who's been there before in a big way? And then what happens is, because we're holding that in, what do? We turn to some sort of way to avoid that. For me, it was drugs, it was alcohol, it was working harder. Who's got that drug in them? Working harder. Like, if I do more of it, it'll go away, and it just fucking gets more intense, right? But now it's completely shifted. I've changed how I can do that through mindfulness. And I know a couple of you guys participated in our breath work. Was that awesome or was that awesome, right? Did you guys cry just a little bit? Yeah. Did you feel a little bit of like just some like fucking crazy shit, but then you just had some like peace and beauty and gratitude in your life? Yeah, it was.
Josh, what did you think? Oh, where'd he go?
He's the most vocal one. He actually said 6 words, though, the night we did the breath work, so he really was open that night. And, you know, it's like we don't have a ton of men in here, but Josh, and tell me, what's his name back here? Kenny, and I forgot, Kevin. So, like, as men, we're almost like we're not supposed to have vulnerable feelings, right? And like, I even look at, and this is a little bit off topic, but I look at the way we're so fucked up with masculine and feminine energy today. It's like we're so afraid of offending someone, I can't even really be a man, right? But at the same time, we're confused on what manhood is, because no one's really fucking taught us how to do that. Who's with me here a little bit, right? And so then we end up just holding this pressure in. So we have to find ways to release that pressure. The other thing that we have to do is recreate the financial blueprint. That is, think about your unconscious mind and your body as being an operating system. An operating system is like every couple months or weeks or something, I get iOS 12.674, right? And I need to update my phone. But it actually, like, it sucks to update, but with time it actually makes things more effective and efficient, right? And so how many of you guys are running your financial blueprint, your operating system on Windows fucking 98 still, right? And you can't figure out why you're not getting ahead. You've got to update your operating system. Now, I listened to an interview. How many of you guys know who Rod Deirdrick is? He had the Fantasy Factory, DC Shoes, professional skater. A lot of people don't know how, like, epic, yet ridiculousness, Big and Rob. He's an epic entrepreneur and business person, like fucking ridiculously rich. And I was listening to an interview with him, and he says there's this optimized version of us that we're always focusing on. In our mastermind, we call it our flag on the hill. We're always optimizing it. As we begin to optimize, upgrade our operating system, guess what? Our optimized version is going to optimize as well. So what we have to be always doing is creating a blueprint or a pattern or a habit to always upgrade and optimize our operating systems around money. Yes?
Yes.
Awesome, cool. So here's any questions real quick. Here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to grab your paper, okay? And for 60 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, I want you to write down your top 3 to 5 takeaways from sitting here today. Any questions? All right, go. Anyone need more time? Okay. What I want you to do is grab a partner, pick a partner A and a partner B. Who's are my partner A's? You're going to point to partner B, and you're going to say, I'm going to go first again. So go ahead for 30 seconds, just share some of your takeaways. If you need a group of 3, that's fine too.
We can do 3. Okay. So my top 5 takeaways are to have handwriting declarations, different physiology, with that every day I do my affirmations and my declarations in the mirror, and I look in the mirror and do that. But the one thing I'm not doing is connecting that by writing them out physically, and I am such a writer that I think that would really help bring a full circle. So I think that's one thing I'm going to add into my morning. The picture, did you get that picture? My morning routine. I'm going to add that into that, which I think will help a lot. I like the idea of money is not real, so I need to change my idea and my perspective on the negative feeling I have when I'm spending that money, because it does bring a weird fucking negative, like more money out, and I don't like that, because then it is inviting more negative energy based around money. So fuck that, I'm gonna get rid of that shit. I like to give myself first. I must have picked that up from my mom. I'm a fucking giver. Sometimes I give a little too much, and I want to wrap fucking my face.
All right, switch partners. Switch partners. Let everyone else have a turn.
Okay, go ahead.
right, begin wrapping it up. All right. Up here, guys.
It's like herding cats, right?
Bunch of awesome women. Awesome. Cool. Who took away some awesome shit for today, right? And you're like probably wondering why was I never taught this stuff? And there's so much more to go beyond this. If any of you guys have questions, you can go to financialfreedomnation.com and you can get the whole 8 video training program forever. It's $297. You can just get it, download it, have it, right? So financialfreedomnation.com. I'm not here to just try and sell you guys, but literally it's a great education program, okay? Real quick, I need a volunteer to stand up and share. What were their 3 to 5 major takeaways from today? Who wants to volunteer and share? Hello? Who wants to? Awesome, go ahead. Ellie, stand up.
It's okay to be a spender and a saver. If you manage money, you'll have money. You don't need a financial advisor.
Awesome. Cool. Great takeaway. Who else wants to share their takeaways? All right, go ahead, Amanda.
Handwrite my declarations to connect the physiology because I do positive affirmations as part of my morning routine every day, and I look in the mirror and do that. But the one thing I'm not doing is connecting it by writing, and I'm such a writer. So that was a big one for me. Money is not real. Changed my idea and perspective on that because I do have a negative perspective when I'm spending money. It is so negative, so I feel like maybe that's inviting more negative around the idea of spending money. So I'm gonna be fucking killing that idea. Pay myself first. I do have, from my big mama, an idea to be such a giver that sometimes I don't treat myself first and put them into the right buckets. So
Right, and just be clear on that. Paying yourself first isn't just like going and buying new shoes.
No,
it's like the financial freedom account, right?
and what I mean by treating myself is giving myself the 7 buckets and setting myself up for success so that I can live a balanced life to live a fulfilled life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Cool.
those are mine.
Awesome. Give her a hand. Who else wants to share? Come on, guys. The more you share, the better you feel. But literally, here's a couple of who wants to retain more of this information in their life, like wants to actually apply it, not just be here and listen, like, oh, that was some feel-good stuff like The Secret. This is like really you want to apply it. Who's that? Right? 2 strategies to really apply it quickly. Number 1 is review this every day for 10 minutes for the next 7 days. Just write in your journal, review your notes, write it down. Number 2 is share it. The more you share it and declare it, the more you'll actually understand it. So here's an opportunity to retain so much more. Candace, did you want to share?
Pay yourself first. If anyone from me, I've been telling my kids that since they were old enough to talk. And I have a 22-year-old who's now teaching her friends that, so that's a huge one for me. I tell her I don't care if it's $2 a month, but pay yourself first, because otherwise you won't ever have any money.
Yep.
Financial freedom is residual income, and start a business, which I did this year. So.
Woo!
Yay!
Awesome, cool. Who else would like to share their takeaways? This is like the time to be like open up and expressive. Anyone else? Kelly? Awesome. Cool. Thanks for volunteering. Let's stand up.
I love it.
So I'm a single mom, so money's a big deal for me. I got out of the Coast Guard and I didn't know what I was gonna do. So getting into real estate was a scary thing to do because I have to manage sometimes months without a paycheck. So last year I finished my basement, I have a renter in my basement. And then, so that brings in money and it covers all my utilities every month. So that's a nice thing that I've done. I also take about $500 a transaction and put them in bank accounts for my kids. So that when there is that dental bill or that, I don't feel bad that my kid just got 5 more cavities, like, other than I can't get the brushes But I have those accounts set up, so I've kind of started this same little chain that you were talking about, other than there's a few buckets I'm missing, so I need to add.
Right. Well, and beyond that, awesome. Give her a hand, everyone. For sharing that. So And one thing we didn't go over in details here, but with these different accounts is there's percentages that if you get to, it will maximize your growth. How many of you guys want to accelerate your growth? Raise your hand if that's you. Awesome. So you've got to go get financially literate on what and how to do that. Cool? How many of us are self-employed or business owners or real estate people or anything like that? Cool. So I'll give you guys, and I wasn't even thinking about doing this, if you guys want to check out my personal mastermind. It's fucking epic. It's more beyond just finances. It's growing an epic business, financial freedom, and actually personal fulfillment, enjoying every step of the way. Amanda's a partner in it. Is it awesome or is it awesome?
I love it.
So if you guys want, you can apply for that. It's the wgrmastermind.com, so you guys go check that out as well. Any other questions before we wrap it up? All right, ladies, I just want to say thank you so much, and men, sorry, ladies and men. Appreciate y'all for having me today. High five someone, give 2 hugs, and let's wrap it up.
Thank you.
Great.
I just want to say, I think we owe him another big round of applause. Colton, that exceeded my expectations. I don't know about you guys. Did it exceed any of your guys' expectations? Yes.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks
Cool.
for doing that.
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate you donating your time and your staff's time.
For
So
sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What we're gonna do now is we're gonna all, if you don't mind, we're gonna stack up the chairs. We're gonna come up front and we're all gonna get a picture or two.
Raffle really first.
Oh,